Against the ropes, number one.
Give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You got shit. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
A wise man once called it the theater of the unexpected, and the description stuck because of everything that was revealed.
That is a flat-out knockout. This is a picture that doesn't need any captions.
The fearlessness of the fighters,
What a statement.
their capacity for the seemingly impossible,
Unbelievable.
the humanity amid such brutality.
There's nowhere else in sport you'll find greater passion, greater intensity, greater courage, greater commitment, greater sheer guts. This is boxing at its best.
For more than 45 years, the understanding was simple. If you wanted to watch boxing's most legendary nights, you turned the channel to HBO.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 13 of Against the Ropes. I am Gio Garcia. I am alongside Christian Mosqueda and Christian Rodriguez. How are we doing today?
Doing good. Ready to get this episode popping.
Ring the bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, so we have a lot to talk about once again. We're going to start off with HBO. Right, you guys were there this past weekend, December something. You guys were there. How was it? HBO's final show, right? HBO Boxing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely something we were not gonna miss for sure. I know HBO was going up against, the man in boxing, Lomachenko. But like I told you guys earlier, I was like, there's plenty of Lomachenko to go around. This is HBO's final show, and we had to be there.
Man.
Had to be there. So, yeah, a little disappointed, right, Chris? That there wasn't a lot of people there. You know, the way we kind of expected there to be a little bit more fans in attendance. But then again, it wasn't. There was not a lot of big names, recognizable names. And so, I mean, it was a little disappointing that there wasn't a lot of people. But you know what, we were there and we had to pay our respects.
Yeah, when I was watching your footage, I was like, dude, what happened to the people?
For real. Like, I know it's cold, but man,
It's not that cold in Southern California.
for real.
And it was actually here, right?
Yeah,
At the StubHub Center. Like,
And I love it when fights are here.
less than
because-
half a mile away
yeah.
from us.
I love when the fights are here because, I parked my car right here at the university and just walked right over. No parking, not having to pay for parking. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that kind of sucks about this last HBO card. Because given the fact that the StubHub always has that recognition that there's always brawl-out fights.
Yeah.
It has that reputation that all the big fights happen, like Timothy Bradley versus Ruslan,
Mm-hmm.
Lucas Matiz versus Postol, Triple G's, several fights fighting there. But this one didn't actually had any, even during the undercards, it didn't have that type of like volume of like high expectation of power punches or big knockouts or anything like that. It was more like a meeting of boxing. You're just there just to attend, even though there was like good fighters like Clarissa Shields, Cecilia, and Estrada. But the whole focus was not even on the fighters, right? It was just basically the focus on the three men, Roy Jones Jr., Jim Lampy, Max Kellerman, and also special guests of Larry Merchant entering the commentating studio. So even after you saw the fights being done, all the media people just started running towards them just to try record the last few moments of all of them being together, like televising their last few events. And you took anything away from that, Chris?
Yeah, man. It was an emotional moment. I mean, you just see the passion on all these guys' faces. Just what HBO meant to them, and then just being part of, all these fighters' journeys. Yeah, it was definitely an emotional moment. We got to, see grown men, just kind of break down, and just a testament to, the power of HBO. And
Who, Chris or Jim Lampley?
it was a little bit of everybody. But yeah, I was like, we were talking earlier, Chris. We didn't get to see the actual, the actual HBO with all the highlights and the montages of, of past fights. But man, that was powerful stuff.
Any Anything that stood out in particular from the fights? We'll just get that out the way.
Anything, Chris?
I think the fights usually demonstrate the type of class we have for the women's divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically speaking, Clarissa Shields and Cecilia. So, Lady Christina Hammer was outside the ring, so more than likely you're gonna see Clarissa Shields fight Christina Hammer sometime next year. So that's probably like the biggest fight you can make in women's boxing right now. And I know we're gonna talk about like top 5 pound for pound fighters like later on during the end of this month, but I think just out of respect, we should also do that for women's boxing. Just because I think women's boxing is going to grow next year for sure. But other than that, I mean, Estrada more than likely may try to look for that rematch against Soren B-side. But other than that, it's really hard to take away anything from the fights, Gio. Honestly, it was just basically the focus on the commentators.
Yeah, it was mostly a showcase for the.
Yeah, and you guys can watch a lot of the footage on our YouTube channel, Against the Ropes podcast, because you guys got some good footage, including something very interesting.
Yeah, so I was actually going to keep this a secret, but I didn't know if any of you were going to participate in coming to the fight on Saturday. So I was well aware, Chris, before you texted in the group message that Alejandro, the judge from Deontay Wilder versus
115,
Fury,
111.
who scored at 115 and 111 in favor of Deontay Wilder, was actually going to not just be there for ringside to judge just one fight, but he was there to commentate, to score 2 fights. And specifically speaking, he was going to be there for the main event. And I wanted to basically confront him and ask him, that question that I haven't seen anybody from Showtime.
Anybody in general. If they mess up in their job, they'll probably get like suspended or write up or some type of consequence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this man was working the next week.
And not just working anyone. He was working the HBO final show.
Yeah, the final show.
Right. And that's the thing about weather people, right? You can watch the weather. They can have all the data, and then they can get the weather wrong the next day. They still keep their jobs, right? That's the same thing with judges in the boxing. They score the same fights. The next thing you know, they still keep the job. So, and honestly, Chris, and a lot of my friends, too, have been noticing, when I talk about boxing, they always question how long I'm going to last in this sport, covering this sport, because honestly, I don't see anybody investigate or confront. I've never seen anybody confront a judge about a scorecard ever in my life, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a taboo thing. It's kind of like unspoken, like you're not supposed to do it.
And you know why?
It's like,
why do you think so, Chris? Because I'm gonna go off right now. But
why do I think?
Yeah, why do you think, Chris? And why do you think, Joe? Because I'm about to go off in a bit.
Yeah, there's a few things. Obviously, one of them is access. If you rub the wrong people the wrong way, you're not gonna get access, and that's one. Another one is like.
Well, I thought you were meaning access to an actual judge. Because you don't see these guys around. Either way.
Also that
they don't give interviews. They don't come out on TV.
Yeah, they're
like referees for professional sports.
Yeah, they just leave right after. We hardly ever see them stick around. One of them is that. The other one is people don't like to, upset the apple cart. They don't want to make enemies. They don't want to, especially with the dark side that we talk about. They don't want to. That's another one. You, Gio? What do you think?
I don't know. I think one reason is just people are just so used to it that it's not even a thing anymore. But other than that, I don't know.
Chris?
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it in the head. I think, and I'm not trying to, I know we have people who cover the sport who do reporting, but this is not just about me bashing on them, but obviously, me covering the sport, I'm not here to make friends, dude. Honestly, and the thing is, with reporters, I get it. You're trying to befriend people and try to get access at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you don't get access, because you need credentials. And some part of your way of doing the job is that you got to be friendly, right? Well-liked. And sometimes, even you yourself, Chris, let me talk about this story with you, Gio, all right? Chris, were you nervous?
To get to this guy?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I want to say a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
I would have been like a lion in a cage, dude. I would have been like Algeria, just let me out the cage.
Yeah. You went. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it might not turn out right like Algeria.
Yeah. But why did you feel a little bit nervous?
Because of what I just said. Not wanting to just swap ways, but at the same time, it's like I know it's necessary. It's like what I learned in journalism. we're here to be like the medium. You know, we're here to get the information out. We're not here to, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like that's most people doing
Yeah.
the reporting, because if you see these interviews, that's why I don't really watch any of the interviews, because
Mhm.
it's like the same questions over and over,
Mhm.
and it's just like, you know, you can talk shit about someone like on shows like this and behind their back, but once
Yeah.
you're interviewing them, like most people are just like, they turn soft, dude. They don't ask the questions they should be asking.
So yeah, Chris, I was nervous, but at the same time, I was like, we need to do it. We need to do a public service here.
No, I mean, that's the thing. I think, Chris, what I'm trying to emphasize is that when you feel nervous or scared about doing stuff like this,
Mhm.
you have to consider the fact that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're
Yeah.
doing the right thing, dude.
So
So,
fireman, we stay in the kitchen.
yep. And the thing is, I already knew that he was going to score the last fight,
Mhm.
and we were talking about whether or not we should do it like right away,
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
away. And then I was telling, let's confront him as soon as we have time.
Mhm.
And Chris was telling me, hey, you should ask him
A
like
soft question.
a soft question.
You know, reel him in.
Yeah, reel him in. Nope, Gio.
Chris
I
is
was
like,
like,
nah.
no.
Yeah, we're talking about that too, because it would have just been a funny reaction. Like,
Yeah.
you ask him something and he'd be like, oh, yeah, cool. And then once you ask him the real question,
He'd have been like,
seeing
oh.
him walk away, you know, it would just show you
Yeah.
the polar opposites, right? The ends
Yeah.
of the spectrum. Like when you ask him a question that doesn't put him against the ropes, and then another question
Hey.
that is actually tough for him to answer.
And we have our special guests in the house.
This guy doesn't mind answering any questions.
What's happening?
Hey.
We talking about me or we talking about my pops?
So put on the headsets. This one right here.
I got one of the baddest dudes in boxing with me.
All right.
Goes by the name of Frog Dog.
Frog dog.
He's actually my secret to being able to whoop on Bivol during sparring. I'm kidding, Bivol, but you know I whooped that ass that last week, Bivol.
Hey, show us the tape later on. I know
I
you got
know.
it. I know you got it.
Oh, and they wouldn't let us do it. Every time we started.
I know you still got it.
I'm
just kidding.
The tape is in
I'm
my
just kidding.
mind.
Hey, after the show, we'll talk.
Joe,
Absolutely.
you want to fill him in on what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, so we have Anthony Sims in the building. Anthony Sims Jr.,
And,
the magician.
can I give him the government name or no?
Yeah.
And Frog Dog, my pops.
Frog dog. How we doing tonight?
We're doing great.
Doing
Doing good.
all good?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Hey, there you go.
All right, so we had got the show started. We're talking about HBO's final show. You guys have any thoughts on that?
You guys want to make me talk on that?
You don't have to.
You don't have to. Well, I mean, you can talk about.
After I just said this man will answer any question.
All right. I mean, I am. I say if you want me to talk about it, I will. So actually,
It's the Rogues, number one.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.